Now we will start with the 3 minutes.
Okay, since these are all about speaking, I'm assuming the appointment of the board, I'm not going to read that every single time. The first person who'd like to speak is Mr. Khalil Elsa.
Good evening. As a taxpayer, a resident of this city, a father of 2 girls who attend Dearborn Public School, and as a scholar of education, I am very concerned about how over-politicized the appointment of a new trustee to the Board of Education has been. The debate over who is more qualified to fill this vacant seat is literally void of any discussion of the current and serious DPS issues and where do those candidates stand on them, such as schools and classrooms capacity, staff shortage, the persistent and even widening gap in academic achievement among elementary schools, the role of parents in the educational decision-making, et cetera, et cetera. Do we know what those candidates' views on these and other important issues that they would be entrusted to make decisions upon them when they fill that seat? No. Did the 15 minutes public interview conducted with them taught us much about that? No. Quoting MASB's Guide to the Fundamentals of Board Vacancies, members of the board must agree in advance on the qualifications they'll seek in a new member and should produce a list of attributes that all members can agree on and then use to evaluate potential candidates, end of quote. And on page 5, the procedures adopted by a board, however, must be consistent with the requirements of the Open Meeting Act, end of quote. Do we know what this list of attributes that the board has used to evaluate the candidates? No. I sat there last Tuesday and watched the candidates were either reading or reciting their prepared answers to the already known questions. I seriously question any decision that would be made based on that unauthentic performance. Based upon all this, I believe that your decision to select the best candidates to fill the vacant seat on the board should be solely based on A, how well they are versed in educational matters pertaining to our communities, and B, what do their public records tell us about their characters and their community involvement. It should not be based on their ethnic background and certainly should not be based on who's politically lobbying on their behalf. As President Lane said last week, this is the hardest decision that the board makes, even though I believe that the board should not be making such decisions at all, which calls into question why the bylaws has not been changed, has been amended as discussed in the past. Your decision today is very critical, and it may have significant ramifications on the board, on the public image of this board, as well as the Dearborn Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. You came in right under 3 minutes. I would like to answer your final question. State law says that we must appoint. We cannot hold a special election. So we are constricted by state law. We have to do that within 30 days. Go ahead, Trustee Petrov.
The next speaker would be Mr. Charles McDonald of Dearborn, speaking on the process for the community.
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
It disturbs me that the chatter I am hearing around town, and the chatter is the replacement for the board member has been predetermined. That the name of the replacement was known before the candidates had ever applied. If this is true, shame on you. Although it is chatter, perception is everything. The future of our children and their education should not be held hostage to somebody's political agenda or someone's political capital gain or favor. We have worked very hard and tirelessly through hard times to build Dearborn Public Schools to an A1 status, a model for the state and the nation. It would greatly tarnish our reputation if the vote is for a political agenda or political capital gain or favor. If this is true, shame on you. So I expect that you keep the best interest of our kids in mind when you cast your vote. Vote the best applicant to fill this position. Vote with your conscience. Don't sacrifice our children's future education and our city's reputation for a political agenda or personal capital gain or favor. If this is true, shame on you. You will be held accountable for the vote you cast. This is true. Thank you.
The next speaker would be Mr. Nasser Ali. Unless oh, there he is.
Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Nasser Ali, and I am a concerned parent. I am here to share my concerns with you about this board independence. As the board that oversees the education process for the district, we as parents, students, and community hold you to the highest level of school core values and your ability to make a decision that is in the best of the students and students alone. In this process, we expect that board members need to make the decision independently after listening to candidates, evaluate their qualification and track record, and hear the parents and residents. One person, one vote, and one person, one voice. 2, board members are elected with no party affiliation, and the purpose for that is to keep the politics out of education as much as possible. It is the board responsibility, 3, it is the board responsibility to distance itself from special interests and politically motivated groups. 4, if the board just do what the self-interest and politically motivated groups, the residents and everyone need to go where the decisions are really made and not pay attention to the formality that happens in this room. 5, people are talking about how the process is rigged, and the special interest group are making the decision even before the process had started. 6, the concern shared in the community is that the special interest group bring their candidate who has no track record in the school involvement, and the board just agree. Finally, I hope tonight's outcome would protect the board independency and put students' interest above all other interests. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker will be Adib MOSOP.
Good evening, and thank you for the time. My name is Adib MOSOP. I'm a parent of 3 children in Dearborn Public School. I'm also a student in a doctorate program at Wayne State University in Education Leadership and Policy, and a concerned citizen above all. I would like to express my concern about the process and urge the need to refocus the process of this appointment based on fact, merits, qualifications, and track records. The Michigan Association of School Boards published a simple guide to fundamentals of board vacancies. It was referred by the previous speakers as well. For the sake of time, I would like to highlight the last 4 pages of this document. On page 9, the section where to find the potential candidate to fill the vacancy mentioned 6 points to maintain school board excellence in governance. 1, focus on diversity, and it says if you want to bring a new perspective and voice, think about whether your board really reflects the community that it represents. 2, think about broadly. Think about the great board member may come from citizen groups, including advisory committees within the district. 3, identify the contact people who deeply care about the district and its mission. These people should not only have required skills, but should also care enough about the district mission to make a significant effort to be involved. Also, turn foes into friends, although not every opposition leader would want to be a board member, considered well-spoken activists who are eager and able to speak to the community issue and public policy debate. And also, on page 12 of this document, it lists the qualification of school boards candidates. And A says, put children first. A qualified board candidate should believe that every student deserves an equal quality education. They should have a true commitment to the successful future of all the students in the district and have proven history of advocacy on their behalf. 2, no personal or political agenda. Board candidates should not be running on their own personal agenda or political aspiration. Instead, they should be passionate for public education and believe that all students entitled to quality education. Prove leadership. The qualified board candidate should be passionate about moving the district forward. To accomplish this, a candidate needs to be innovative, problem solver, and reflect, build on consensus, and not afraid of change or reform.
You have 10 seconds.
Okay. I would like to pass this documents to the board members if,
Sure.
if they would like to see. And I think that that I hope that the boards will take all these recommendations and considerations. The board had its choice tonight. And I hope they would side with facts, track records, qualification, and what's best for
Thank
all
you.
Dearborn Public School.
Thank you.
Ready?
She's, YouTube is playing. We're trying to multitask. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next speaker who would like to speak about the rules of voting, Mr. Abdul Jalil Ahmed.
Good evening. My name is Abdul Jalil Ahmed. I am a parent. I have 6 children educated in Dearborn Public Schools. I'm also a former teacher from Detroit Public School for 24 years. I also work as a community liaison in Melvindale Public Schools. I don't have a long speech to make, but I ask from you 2 things. One, to basically re-emphasize the issue of diversity in our district, so that all the students, all the student population will be represented in the Board of Education, so they can benefit from those who have concern and who have experience, as the previous speakers have said. The second one is, as a citizen in Dearborn, I voted, and my vote went for one of those who are running for the Board of Education. Regarding the rules, I would like to see my vote make a difference in this process. I understand that if you are a private sector, you'll bring all kind of different people to interview and to shuffle through them and to, to sort out. You have the whole freedom. But in this issue, we have one element that's different. We have citizens who voted for specific individuals. So I wish and I would like to see you taking that also in consideration. Thank you very much.
The next speaker will be Saleh Ali for Adele's qualifications.
Hello, good evening. I'm Saleh Ali. So I just wanted to emphasize and reiterate some of the interviews that occurred last week. And one person that stood out in particularly was Adel Muzab. As you guys are aware, listening into him and from the application submitted, he has a very good track record, has a bachelor's in engineering from University of Michigan Dearborn, master's degree from Wayne State University. He has been a teacher for several years, teaching the youth. Also, he is a part of a nonprofit organization that promotes educational youth and mentorship programs. But one unnoticeable fact that you guys probably don't know about him is the fact that he comes from an immigrant family. he is also an immigrant himself. He migrated several decades ago, where not knowing a single word of English, and in the process he persevered and really educated himself to get to where he is today. And in a welcoming district, as in Dearborn Public Schools, I think we need someone who understands the struggles of this influx of immigrants and refugees. There's a saying in Arabic that says, "Sal mujarrab wa la tasal tabib," ask someone who's experienced and someone who's studied it. So I do believe that with honesty, trust, and integrity, these are some of the core values the school board tend to inherit, and I do believe that the right decision will be made. So with that said, I appreciate the time and the opportunity, and good luck on the decision process.
Thank you.
Mr. Hillel Bazzi, the appointment of a new school board trustee.
Hello, everyone. Being a student in the Dearborn Public Schools District for 13 years now, I've always been concerned with the quality of my education. Throughout the years, I've seen the progress that this district have made, whether it's increasing graduation rates or better performance from our students. This success would be impossible without a school board that is so dedicated to the student success. Today, you will decide on appointing a new school board member. As a student who's concerned about the success of not only myself, but the students around me, I want to ensure that the new school board member will solely be chosen based on the qualifications and the commitment to the success of the students. The school board member holds an immense responsibility as they manage and create policies to further progress the education of over 20,000 students in this district. A school board must be free of any outside forces intended to obstruct the sole focus that the school board should have, which is the students. The new school board member must share these views and be qualified and be devoted to the community, students, and schools that they wish to serve. Over the last year, this district has been perpetuating the idea of students first. The simple phrase "students first" should be the backbone and underpinning of any decision that this district makes. Whether it's changing boundary lines, managing the budget, or something as large as this, like appointing a new school board member, the phrase "students first" must hold true. As a student who's concerned about the intentions of this board, I wish to conclude with one request. As you decide on who to appoint to the board today, I only ask that your intentions remain clear and all your motives are put aside. I ask that this board holds to the motto "students first" in the highest regards as they make this decision today, because at the end, it is all about the students. Thank you so much.
Next speaker will be Mr. Saif AlJame, speaking about Adel MOSOP.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Oh. Okay.
I thank you for that.
Oh.
Actually, it was a surprise for me because I don't know my name is Anna. Anyway,
Well, who
there's a
is,
list.
it's on the card.
What's the name? Yes.
Saif AlJame?
Yes.
That's you?
Oh, yes.
Well,
You
I
didn't
saw I
know that you
mispronounced
submitted a
it.
card?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what was the card for, to be honest with you, so
Oh,
I could give it to somebody
So,
else.
do you not wish to speak?
I don't want to speak.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
All
all
right.
right.
All right,
Well,
that's fine.
Thank
You
you
don't
so
have
much.
You don't have to speak, of
Thank
course.
okay, moving right along. Mr. Mansoor Mashra?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, all. My name is Mansoor Mashra. I've been a resident in Dearborn for the last 40 years. I am also an immigrant from Yemen that I immigrated to the United States in 1977. Came in knowing no word in English. Went to school together with Trustee Barry. We should say you look young anyways, but education is very important, and it's a concern to all of us. And listening to our brothers and colleagues that came up and spoke, that it's a very, very crucial method, and is a very critical method that we should look into it precisely. And we should leave everything aside, meaning political agendas and self-motivated interest and so on and so forth. There are, by all means, if I'm going to speak on behalf of a certain individual that I voted for in the election, by all means, I'm not taking the credits of the other candidates. I'm sure they all good candidates, and I'm not here to take any credit from anyone. But being that I grew up in the city of Dearborn, and I see how important education is. I have 3 daughters that graduated from Dearborn Public Schools and going to colleges and universities in Dearborn, U of M Dearborn and Henry Ford College. And I also myself graduated from Dearborn Public Schools. It's very, very crucial to pick the right candidate and the right person that could be the role model, the person that we go to, the person that we can trust, and the person that we can look at to represent our children. And by all means, that's the only thing we should worry about is our kids in this particular agenda or this particular method that we are in. I wrote in my card that I'm here for Adel MOSOP. And the reason I would say that is I know Adel MOSOP since he came to this country, since he immigrated to this country, and how motivated and enthusiastic and what a role model he is, not to mention the education, not to mention his connection and his community involvement and how he get involved with a lot of issues. I think we should think very, very critical, and we should pick the right person that would represent our children. By all means, that if we're going to choose a person,
10 seconds.
I'd like to see, I'm sorry.
Time to finish up.
Okay. We'd like to pick the right person that would represent our kids, our children, and then someone we can look at as a role model. And I personally believe, knowing him, his involvement in the community, his actions that he gets with and get involved with in the community, whether they're Muslim, non-Muslims, Arabs, non-Arabs, he's involved with everything. Personally, I think he's the right candidate, and it's all up to you to choose who you want, but personally, as a citizen of Dearborn, he's the right candidate to represent my children. And I would appreciate if you consider that, and I appreciate it very much for the time that you've given me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Mr. Alabas Farhaf.
All right. Hello, board. My name is Alabas Farhaf. I'm a student at Fordson High School. And I'd first like to start off by saying this year, right, well, technically last year, I was fortunate enough to take part in the election process in November. I got to witness firsthand people campaigning, shaking hands, knocking doors, right, seeing the people they hope to represent and serve right here. Now, we all know how that ended up, right? We have several new board members, and we're gathered here today, in fact, to select a new one. And so I want to say that, as a board, it should be important that we look back to that election, where we have one of the applicants who was third in the voting, which goes to further prove the fact that he has the solidarity of the community behind him, which I think is very important as a student at Fordson High School. Because if someone is to represent us, if someone is to speak on our behalf as a student, that's what the school board does, right? Students first. It should be someone who campaigned, who went door to door, who listened to what we had to say, right? Not to knock any of the other applicants, that is. And to speak furthermore on Adel MOSOP, even after his loss, his involvement in the community was unshaken, was undeterred. At every event that I was at, right, I like to stay involved in the community. I seen him there. He was there with the students, with the people in the community. I cannot say that wholeheartedly about the other candidates. He was a frequent fixture there. right? And another thing that I think was fantastic on his resume is that he has, in lack of a better word, is very tech savvy. He has a background in technology. And my personal viewpoint is on this. In 5 years, the field to be in is not medicine. It is clear to be technology. We need to have smart schools. Now, I fancy myself a stock analyst. I look at Tesla. Tesla just at $350, right? I think that's fantastic. Tesla's going to be the future. Apple did a 7-way split not too long ago. How great is that, right? These are all software companies, right? Stuff that, honestly, if given the opportunity, I would love to delve more into. And I think he has the opportunity to bring that to the school district, right? And so I'd like to leave you with this, right? The words that this nation is built on, right? The fabric of this nation, in fact, is that we the people, right? And not we the elected. And it goes to speak that he was third in the voting, right? Now, my purpose is not to be derogatory here at all, but my purpose is simply to say that the people here in this room, as well as the students that have came out in numbers, are here for one reason, and that's because of Adil MOSOP and his campaigning efforts.
Okay. The next speaker will be Ahmed Deva.
Good afternoon. I've been a resident of Dearborn since 1999. I'm a mother of 2 daughters whom attended the Dearborn School District. All of you here have been elected by the voters, we as citizens. It saddened me to see the bashing that happened on social media accusing the board member of electing a person before even the interview been started. All I'm asking from the board member, I trust your judgment. I trust you're going to pick the right candidate because, after all, the citizen need to understand. It saddened me when I put on a social media, we need to stop this attack, and we need to focus on our children who are dying from drugs, suicide, and speeding. And saddened me, one of the parents answering me saying, our children issue, it's later, it's not important. Our school board election is more important. We lost 2 of our children over the weekend because of a road accident. 2 things comes to our life without no invitation, love and death. We need to focus more on our children. We as citizens did vote these people and put them in these seats. If you don't have no proof, do not attack these board members because it's shame on us as a citizen to put them here if we have any suspicions. So I respect you. I respect your judgment. All the candidates are qualified. Me as Afaf Ahmed, I do see that every person is qualified. It's not fair to stand for one person against the others. Everybody has a chance. If you did not get the seat this today or next week, you have the opportunity to be here next year in the election and on our vote to be there. Thank you.
All righty. Zuhair Abdul Haq.
I just want to see this chair. I think the board member is going to sit on it. And I don't think there is any name people on any of the seats. This seat belongs to the resident of this city. It's belonged to the student of this city. It's not belonged to anybody. I know you guys work for less than minimum wage, and I appreciate what you do with all my heart. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you're doing. And what's happening is really not nice. I trust your judgment. I trust each one of you that you're going to make the right decision. Because at the end of the night, the person who's going to sit here, he's not going to answer to anybody but God and his conscience, and the only interest going to be the children, especially if they have children in the system. So please, make your decision. Don't be afraid of anybody, any organization. The people of this city are watching, and we will be behind you with your decision, no matter what it is. And thank you.
The next speaker will be Abed Mood.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me a chance to address you tonight. I'm here actually on my own behalf, on behalf of many people at home and in the audience. We don't want to swamp you with blue cards, and they're not all here for one candidate. There are other people supporting other candidates here. We just wanted to tell you that we elected you to make the tough decisions, and tonight we count on you to use your best judgment and base your decision on the law, the rules, and the facts, and nothing else. And to not bow to pressure, bullying, intimidation, or to not give. You should give every one of the 6 candidates a fair shake. I've been involved in the schools issues for almost 20 years. I've come here many times, hundreds of times, attended meetings, and I spoke at this podium many, many times. Our 2 boys graduated already from the schools, but I'm still very involved. We didn't always agree, but I've never seen the level that the disagreement went down to this time. And I've seen people disagree in the same meeting, and people disagree with the board. I have never seen what happened now. I don't know if this is social media that causes this. People stoop to a very low level. They hide behind their keyboards, especially in this process, and they start spewing venom. They start spewing rumors and utter lies and stories, and then they get enough likes and they start believing their own stories. And what they're trying to do is simply one thing: bully the board into picking their own candidate, or bullying the board out of picking someone else. That's not fair to her. That's not fair to the board. And that's not respectful to the board to accuse them of making decisions up front. All based on lies. People are trying to do this by accusation against the board. Here is Celia Nasser. People are trying to do this by accusation, accusing the board or members of AIPAC. They're spreading utter lies. And they will be responsible for their words, because there are legal processes. When somebody lies, they can be held accountable for it. But I know you will not fall for the lies. Not only they spread rumors about the candidates and the process, they want to teach you what the Open Meeting Act is. They want to teach you what you can or cannot do. They talk about the process. You're not obligated to pick the person that was the most high ranking. In fact, let's talk about that for a minute. Let's admit, for sake of argument, that the number of votes in last year's election should matter. In fact, when I looked at the numbers, Mr. Khalil should be the more appropriate choice, because he actually he ran for a partial term, which that's what you're picking, and he obtained 11,261 votes, which is 66 votes more than the first loser from the candidates for the full term. So also, shouldn't we look at the people who ran in Trustee Bazzi's race to compare apples to apples? That's why the process is what it is today. Ladies and gentlemen, fake news is swamping the country. Fake news and alternative facts. We should not let it come to Dearborn. There's too much at stake. Shame on them, those who invent stories. Shame on them who accuse people. Not shame on you, shame on them, because they invent stories in order to bully you on what you choose or not choose. They invent stories. What they're going to do tomorrow when you're going to choose a president for the college? They're going to say you already choose candidate A, so you don't choose them? That's not right. We've done a lot of good things. AIPAC have done a lot of good things for this board, for this school district, and build schools with the district, and especially in the South End and everywhere at Dearborn. We know what activism is, but we don't accept bullying. That's bullying. You can let me finish. We don't accept bullying. We don't accept this. We just like activism. And that's politics, what they're doing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker will be Ms. Mona Fadlala.
Hold on. We'll,
We need to proceed with the meeting.
We will never get to a vote. Dr. Ball will ask people to leave if they can't refrain from interrupting the meeting. Thank you.
Good evening. Members of the Board of Education, I'm addressing you all today for the very first time so that I, as president of the Arab American Political Action Committee, can respond to some of the allegations that have been raised by social media. AIPAC has a sincere, long-standing commitment to this district and the schools. We believe in an open, transparent, and fair process. We have confidence in your ability to carefully consider every candidate and ultimately make the best choice for this district. I felt compelled to come here today to set the record straight once and for all about some of the false chatter that has been spreading and false conclusions based on misinformation in a desperate effort to intimidate or influence the board. Let me be clear here. Our members have the same right as everyone in this room and everyone across the entire city to apply for this position and/or advocate on behalf of people who applied as well. After all, it's part of the democratic process and our mission as an organization. There is a false narrative that has been circulating by a few individuals intentionally promoting that AIPAC members have no right to advocate for any applicant and that we are bullying or intimidating people. And yet at no point have any of our members threatened or harassed any of you in favor of any candidate. I, as the president, have never addressed any of you with this issue before this moment, even though I had every right to do so. Once again, I want to reiterate, we have full faith in your ability to pick the right applicant that would serve the best interest of the district and add harmony and strength to the board. AIPAC will respect your decision and continue to work with you as it has been doing for 20 years. That is, that our schools and our students come first above anything else. Thank you.
Okay, the next speaker will be Tariq AlHady, or AlHedy.
Good evening, my name is Tariq AlHedy, and I'm speaking on asking you guys to appoint Adil Mu'azzab. I've known Adil Mu'azzab for more than 10 years. He's been a family friend and he's been a role model for all those 10 years. And he's been working with AAYSB, a nonprofit organization promoting education and giving scholarships to students who excelled in school. Also, I was fortunate to be one of his students in a program called Digital Connectors that was by Access, and he was one of my, oh my God, he was my teacher for Digital Connectors. Yeah, and I just ask you guys to vote for Adil Mu'azzab. Thank you so much.
Next speaker will be Abdul AlHady.
Good evening, board members, Mr. Berry, Dr. Maleko. I'm here to vouch for Adil Mu'azzab for the board. I've seen Adil's long track record of public service to the community. He's actually been a lot more visible than any other organizations claim to be as an individual. He does this out of a passion and for the betterment of our siblings and our children, and I know that for a fact. And I'm pretty sure that it's his sole intent in receiving this position as well. It is long overdue that we have a representative from the Salina district regardless. This does not mean that he will only have that portion of the city's children's interests at heart, but it will make up for the lack of representation that the portion of the city's children have been suffering from. Adil on the board will only make it more diverse and dynamic. I was very fortunate to go to the school district, and Adil will only enhance our children's experience and will prepare them for the real world. So I just want to hope that you guys make the right decision and based off of the real qualifications. Adil was the only person out of all of those candidates who ran a hard-fought election, and like a person who spoke before me said, that he has still been visible at many of the events after he lost, something that other candidates unfortunately weren't able to do. And this just came by chance, and like I said, I'm sure that he's the most qualified, not taking away any credit from any other candidates, but Adil definitely will be the best person on the board. Thank you.
The next speaker will be Miriam Wilkie.
I'm here to represent Adil Mu'azzab. I'm president of the Eastbourne Neighborhood Association, and many of my people don't have any children. I don't have any children. I wasn't lucky enough to have them, but we do care about where our tax money's going. I have 2 homes in the city of Dearborn. I feel that the responsibility of the school board is to maintain our money, our tax money, and to be able to produce something that is worthy of the children in this district. I don't see it. So Adele comes to my meetings. He comes all the time. His personality is great. He's got passion. He's got the knowledge, and he's very well rounded for this kind of job. I don't think any of you had to go through what he's going through today to try to get this job. I don't think anybody did. So for Adele to come back here after he's been elected, and he was next in line, I guess we have to go to the legislator to have this changed, because I find this really awkward to have to do this for him. I think he was next in line to win that vote, and now he's got to fight for it. I think the democracy is here. The people voted. I don't see it coming back. We're going in front of a board, not for the people of the city of Dearborn. But if you look at the votes, you see who voted and who voted for what on that board. So I'd like to see Adele get this position. I know you'll all do this correctly and vote for the person who has the qualities and the who is more qualified to do this than who's up here. I think Adele has that position. I think he's well-rounded. I can't say anything bad about him, and I hope to God that you really look at what he has to offer, not anything but what he has to offer. From what I understand here, by watching everybody that comes up here, I'm not on social media, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm sorry to hear that all this background of everybody that comes up here seems something is going on, and I've missed the whole boat here. So I'm shocked. This is my first time coming here, and I want to see something done to improve our schools, the buses. I have a lot of issues myself. I want to see some progress here. I think Adele could help us do that. Thank you.
And the last speaker will be Rola Saub.
Good evening. How are you? I wasn't planning on coming up here and speaking today and talking to you guys. I didn't even bring anything with me. I didn't come prepared, to be honest. But the mother in me and the teacher in me wouldn't allow me to sit still. I had to come up here and address a few things. Every day I walk into the classroom and I tell my kids that I don't only have 3 kids at home, I have 123 kids. They are my kids. I'm with them more than they are with their parents. Every day in the building, I share their smiles, I share their laughter, I share wonderful memories with them, but at the same time, I see the pain that they have inside of them. I witness their emotional well-being. I see the peer pressure that's going on. I see their pain. I feel their pain. All the candidates are wonderful. They've all exceeded our expectations. However, we need somebody on the board that's going to be able to address our students' needs, their emotional needs. That's what our community needs, especially at this time today. Thank you.
Okay, and I had 2, but one was the young lady who was just speaking did not wish to speak card, so I guess she changed her mind and wanted to speak, so I won't read that one, but it reiterated what she just said, Ms. Soap's response. I have an attached, do you want me to read the whole thing from Ashia Musad? Fairly lengthy communication. They don't wish to speak, but would like to make the following comment.
We'll let you read it for 3 minutes.
All right, then I'll read fast, and everybody put your hearing ears on. My name is Shiab Masad. As a lifelong Dearborn resident, I have benefited greatly from the Dearborn school system. It made me prepared for the challenges I faced in college and beyond. It helped me reach my goals as I will be attending Michigan State University Medical School this fall. That is why today's decision is so important. I want my family and all other Dearborn residents to have those same opportunities and more. When selecting a new board member, we need to think about how that member can help our students succeed. We need to select someone who has a proven track record of working with students in our district. Since this is only a short temporary position, we need someone with educational experience because that person will need to get to work right away. This position should not be a stepping stone for other political ambitions. The person we select should be committed to education and committed to continue working on behalf of students, even beyond their temporary appointment. I remember the outrage many of us felt at the appointment of Betsy DeVos to lead the Department of Education despite lacking the necessary education experience. That is why I urge the board to not make that mistake here. No matter who you select to fill the vacancy, I believe you should put educational experience and a demonstrated commitment to our students at the forefront of your discussions. Can I read my own statement?
You have something else to read?
That's
your statement?
mine.
Well, what I was planning is that we will do some of that in the, just before we go into the
To the-
appointment.
right.
So, okay,
Okay.
so we'll do it then. Trustee Hamud, you had something? Or no?
Well, I did also have a statement,
Okay.
not about the specific candidate, but also kind of addressing some of the blue
Right,
cards,
that-
if I may.
Okay.
Because I think that would
Is-
be appropriate.
Yeah, is
and then-
that yours?
Mine's a
The case with yours
general,
also?
yeah, mine's not
Okay.
about a specific candidate.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead now then? And let's start with trustee
Okay.
Petchlokoff then.
I first would like to acknowledge that I have reflected on all of the communications I have read or heard concerning this appointment, and that means I am connected to Facebook. I wish that a special election were an option, as that would be the clearest representation for the electorate at large, but we are obligated to follow the law. And with this legal duty, there also comes for me a moral responsibility. I have always understood that my decisions affect not only those who supported me, but the entire community, which is impacted by the district's successes and failures. Allowing personal biases or agendas to intrude can greatly damage the public trust and confidence with the board direction. I understand differences of perspectives are always part of any group dynamic, but decisions should be based on an individual understanding of what will best contribute to an effective, functional board. My decision tonight will reflect that and a desire to protect and promote the decisions that will be made in the best interests of the students as well as the community as a whole. And I'd like to leave this with a quote from General Norman Schwarzkopf. Leadership consists of character and strategy. If you can't have both, opt for character.
If I may. One of the students that received, the student that received the scholarship today, there was a line at the end of her essay, and it says, "Addicted to making the world a better place." I hope we can all be addicted to making the world a better place. And we cannot make the world a better place by putting others down. That is unacceptable. And we can only make the world a better place by empowering each other. Unfortunately, I have heard today and throughout this process many times of conversations starting by putting someone else down. Now, these past few weeks have been very difficult for the entire board. Not only have we lost a trusted colleague, but we are also faced with making a choice on her replacement. This is not a job that the board takes lightly. But having said that, this is the reason we have been elected to this position. We are here to make the tough decisions, and in my opinion, it would be a dereliction of our duties to pass this decision to anyone else. As you know, we have bylaws that are state mandated. This is the law. I am proud to serve this community. Everyone in this community is my family. I am prepared to make my decision today, but before I do, I need to highlight a program that we have been working on for years in our schools. We have an award-winning program with curriculum at all levels called Response to Bullying Behavior. Over the past several weeks, this board has been subjected to serious bullying by a few, and our integrity was called into question. I want to draw attention to this because I believe one of the important jobs we have as board members is to be role models to our children. I want to make sure that our students know that they are not alone. Even as adults, we are faced with cyberbullying, personal attacks, name-calling, and unfortunately, sometimes even worse. And just like we ask our students to do, we as board members need to be up standards. So today, I'm taking on this challenge, and I hope to make my children, your children, and my community proud. My decision today is based on much thought and reflection. I was not, and I will never be, pressured by anyone to vote a certain way. My decisions are guided by my integrity, my respect for this office, and my own moral compass. While I appreciate input from anyone who wishes to share their thoughts, there is a difference between opinion and coercion. I would like to thank those who have taken the time to respectfully share their perspective, and I encourage you to continue to do so in the future. And I am always yours in service. Thank you.